Oh, I see this tube flashing. Tubes are light. Oh, hey, something smoked. Let's turn her down. We got smoke. Ooh-wee, look at this. Something popped. Not sure what it was, but something popped. A lot of smoke down here. Oh, it looks like it was this cap. It was this cap that popped. So we'll take a look at that and see what's going on there. Looks like I put this capacitor in backwards and it blew the bottom out. The negative goes to here, and this one was in this way. That's the positive end, that's the negative end. Negative end should go to here. So I got that cap, so let's get her changed out. But I must say, I do love the smell of burning capacitor in the morning. That'll teach me to change this stuff out before I've had my coffee. Okay, let's get this changed and we'll try it again. I am not seeing this tube heat up. This one's got a filament on it. Looks like my 5Y4 might be bad. The other two are heating up. Yeah, I don't feel any heat on this at all. Let's take a look. We'll test that tube out and see if we got a bad rectifier. Line voltage looks good. No shorts. Yep, it looks like we have no voltage there. The tube's not heating up. We blew out the filament. So on the schematic, the cap that blew was this 12 microfarad, and it's connected right here. This is the heating element of the 5Y4, so it shorted it directly to ground. Hopefully we didn't do any damage to the transformer. And yeah, so just 5 volts would have been there. So let's get another tube and give it a try. So I put another cap in the radio in the right polarity this time, and I have another 5Y4 tube. That's good, but before I plug it in, I want to make sure I don't damage the filament in this one. So we're going to take a look. This is the capacitor that I had in backwards. This is the 5Y4 tube, and this is the heating element. It comes off of the secondary. So what happened is this is connected here, and the path to ground is through this bias resistor to ground. So it drew a pretty good current through here to fry that element. So what we want to do is make sure we test this secondary and make sure that it's not open. And we might want to taste it, check this secondary in here too. This is where the power comes in through the switch, through the primary, the transformer, and these are the secondary outputs. So we're going to check across here and see if we have good continuity through there without putting the tube in. So the tube tube has the pin on it, and it starts with 1, 2 over here, and those two would be 7 and 8. So when we flip this over to put in here, 7 and 8 would be on this side. So what we need to do is measure across there and make sure we have our good continuity. It says 0.1 ohms, so we'll see if we got that. Yep, we have 0.1 ohm there, so that's good. It's not opened. And like I said, we might want to check these right here just to make sure they're safe too before we continue on. So this is that bias resistor in the schematic, which is right here. So we want to make sure we have approximately 2.2 ohms, 8 ohms, and 35 ohms across that to make sure we didn't damage that. So this should be around 201, 202. That's good. Okay, now we'll move up to the next section. Between these 2 points, we should have about 8 ohms, and we do. And then the last section, between ground, which is this point to there, should be about 35 ohms. See what we have. 34.9, yeah, so that's good. So at this point, I think we want to measure across here and make sure this secondary and the center tap have the resistance they need. It looks like 145 ohms, 155 ohms on each side, total of approximately 300 ohms. So we'll find those points on here and go from there. The center tap is going to be on this side of the resistor, so we'll start right there. Okay, so we're on the center tap, which should be this point right in here. So what we'll do is go to pin 3, and it looks like pin 5. And it should be around 140, what is that, 145 ohms. So let's go over here to pin 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's see what we have. 145 ohms. The next one should be pin 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 135 ohms, that's exactly what it says it should be. So that coil, that part of the primary is good. So we should be safe to put the tube in here, but before we put the tube in, I want to measure the voltage across here once it's plugged in, and we'll go from there. Make sure it's 5 volts. Right there, we're about 116 volts, so we have 5.25, 5.25 volts. We'll go back up to about 120. About 5.5 volts there, which is pretty good because it's going to pull it down once you put that tube in there. So we should be good to go there and put the tube in now. We'll check the filaments on this tube here. It looks like 7 and 8 would be these two here. Those are the filament pins. So let's just make sure we got the right tube. Yeah, that one shows open. Let's get the other tube. 7 and 8 are these two pins. And we can tell that heater element is good in this tube. So this is the good tube. So we'll go ahead and put this new tube in there. It's not a new one. It's one I had in my stock. And we'll start to fire this up. I don't see those heater elements lighting up yet. At least I don't know why that tube's not lighting up. I think we'll have to take a look and see if we can see that it's still getting 5 volts. Cross pins 7 and 8. We'll just have to pull them from a different point here. Maybe we'll put this tube in the tube tester and see what it measures there. See, look at these elements I'm getting. They're heating up. See, that's the test that's kind of weird. It's like the load. If I turn the load down a little bit, then it's good. It's kind of pegging out here, which I don't quite think that that's the best tube. The next test is 3 up and 7 down. That's a little more like it, and this should be up to 57. So that's pegged out at 100%. Good right there. So it's at one side I think is bad, but the issue is the element is not heating up out of that transformer. So we need to look into that a little bit more. Getting to the one side of this secondary, I can come over here, get to it from the cap, and up underneath, it says the wires are blue. Both are blue. And I can see the blue wire coming out right here, and it comes on over to this point. What I need to do is get to the other side of the element, which is blue, and I see this blue cable, but it's coming to here, which is not the heating element. So I need to get the pin 7 and 8 here. Looks like these tabs you can bend up and this cover might come off, so I'll give that a try. See if I can get this exposed a little bit to where I can put the tube in it and test to see what it's actually getting under load. See if we get our 5 volts. Okay, with this tube socket we had a pin or two. Evidently that was too loose there, so I reached underneath here with needle nose pliers and crimped those closed a little bit, and I still used a little spacer rod, which was the same size, and I was able to stick it down there and feel the tension, so I know it's still good and the tube should slide in there, has more tension. Plus I soldered up a couple of these joints under here that looked a little bit cold, so now I wanted to see about getting this pulled back together. Oh, one thing I did notice, somebody else had filed another notch in here, a different direction, probably for fitting a different type of a tube in there. So we need to seal that up so that we don't accidentally drop the tube in the wrong place. So we're going to use some of this UV glue to fill that hole with, and then we'll hit it with the UV light, and it should be good to go. And that should be good. Looks like it's all set up. Now we can get this top pulled back on there. We use this brass hammer to tap those ends over. Oops, goes this way. There, that looks good. The tube should fit in there good now. I'm going to give this potentiometer a shot of contact cleaner. Turns easier already. We want to do the same thing to our contact switches. We have 2 sets of them. Both sides. Get those contacts cleaned. Okay, I think that might be all the contacts on this. I don't see any more below. Yep, I think that's it for that part. Looking at the back of this chassis, it was supported here by this piece of rubber, which is all cracked and falling apart. So I came up with a rubber bumper that fit in there, but the metal part that fit inside of it, this was obviously way too big. So I found a piece of hose like this that fit in there, lubed it with some WD-40, slid it in, cut it off so it extended past that a little ways up to here so to support it. Now this little spacer fits in there good. And the screw should fit in there good. I won't be able to do the ones that are up front here. There's another one like right in here and another one on this side. But they're riveted through the center, so I don't know that I'll be doing anything with those once I tighten this part down. Lift it up a little bit there. Has an insulator from the chassis here. That's interesting. Going to use some alcohol and a brush to clean off some of the dust down in. Now that we've scrubbed everything down with alcohol, we want to get a little oil down in these bearings on the tuner cap. Put a little oil in here. And back there. You also want to put a little oil on your shafts of your tuning knobs. Just a drop, not a lot. Okay. Now we'll see if we can fire it up and get any stations. Okay, I think I'm ready to fire this up, see if we get anything. I hooked a coax to the antenna outside this shop. It's a all metal sided barn is what I have with my shop in it. And maybe I can pick up a signal. Otherwise, it's very tough to get anything in here. So we'll start cranking the voltage up. Let's make sure that's turned on. Oh, I hear something. The regulator tube is working good. Oh yeah, I'm getting some stuff.
Picked up the foul, by the way. That is his second, number 1 of the Buffaloes. We'll sort this out during the timeout. 15:59 to play the second half. Buffaloes lead
Oh, very nice.
in a spirited affair.
He's back to life.
2:42. We'll take a timeout. This is kind of
all right.
Hazel's is just a few minutes from Folsom Field. Fly my Hazel's for beer, wine, and spirits.
That's 850. That always comes in pretty good. Yeah, I think once I get it out of this metal-sided barn and get a better antenna on it, it should pick up pretty good. So that's where we're at. Now we can look at the case and see what we need to do there. Now the radio is put back together. We'll give it a try.
It's been really delightful.
The material's a little wrinkled, but it's glued down from years ago, and I can't rip it up without destroying the material.
I think it was about 35 or 40 Soren Fellows. So the program has expanded tremendously.
High temperature expected in the low 60s as we're currently sitting right now. This couldn't possibly be you, because you want me to preach the gospel anyway. What we're going to do, and of course he was. How can you be God?
My next guest is a good friend of mine who also escaped Columbia University with his ability to use reason intact, which is a rare thing from Columbia. Andy McCarthy is a former...